Once every blue moon, there's a show or piece of media that gives me hope, that makes me believe in humanity, gives me confidence in the fact that we can help each other, we can be uplifting, we can be better people. That if we can elevate one another, we can look towards a brighter tomorrow and inspire hope in each other. Takopi's Original Sin is not one of those shows. Before starting Takopi, I was aware of its themes, including complex topics like abuse, generational trauma, and suicide. However, the narrative details were still an unknown factor to me, and honestly, I think that's the best way of experiencing Takopi. Go in with knowing the bare minimum, keeping in mind that it deals with heavy topics. And if you're watching this and haven't already seen the anime or even read the original manga, I would highly recommend you pause this video and experience the source material firsthand. Takopi's Original Sin follows this little alien octopus creature called Takopi. He hails from planet Happy and comes to Earth to spread happiness to its people, only to gradually realize that humans are much more complex than he first bargained for, and that his happy gadgets aren't enough to help the first person that he meets when he first lands on Earth, Shizuka. He notices that she's sad and offers to help by offering her the ability to fly with one of his gadgets. However, she declines the offer and opts to go home instead. Immediately, you get the sense that something is very wrong, since what child would decline the opportunity to fly? Takopi keeps offering and offering his gadgets to no avail, and over the course of this sequence, you start to assemble the bigger picture of what Shizuka's life is like. Her father abandoned her, her mother works as a prostitute, and both her parents neglect her. Meanwhile, she endures severe bullying at school and continues to suffer in silence. Her only source of happiness is through her dog, Chappie.
I love him more than anything in the world. As long as I have Chappie, I'll be okay. He's all I need to make it through.
When Chappie is taken away and subsequently put down for attacking Shizuka's bully, Marina, Takopi offers his help once again, this time offering the ribbon of reconciliation. To his surprise, she accepts and takes the gadget under the assumption that she's going to make amends with Marina. Time passes, and gradually Takopi starts to wonder where Shizuka is. When he checks her home, we're exposed to this spine-chilling image. To fix this, he uses his happy camera to take him back to a happier point in time. Contrary to what some other viewers might say, Takopi's Original Sin doesn't show us this for the sake of shock value or for being edgy. It lingers on this one shot and draws out this one scene to convey the gravity of what Shizuka did, of what this child did to herself. This show doesn't take its themes lightly, since if it did, it would basically be the same as spitting in the face of the people, the real life people who have gone through or who are going through the same things that these characters are. It handles its subject matters with sincerity and full seriousness, laying them out for the viewer clearly and unabashedly. It doesn't hide anything, it doesn't censor itself. It expects the viewer to understand the gravity of these characters' actions and where they stem from. It's easy to paint Marina as the villain of this story. However, once you come to understand her background and her living situation, you come to understand that she's bullying Shizuka to gain some semblance of control over her life. even if it's fake. She's merely reflecting her own circumstances of abuse onto her own life. It's one of the only ways children know how to deal with abuse since they're in their formative years, and as such, they're incredibly malleable and molded by the adults in their lives. Personally, I'm of the belief that some people are just born good and that others are just born evil. However, Takopi makes the argument that it's a more nuanced discussion and that it depends on the person's circumstances, their living conditions, and who they're in relationship with. It rejects the idea of simple moral binaries. Nobody is fully innocent, but nobody is beyond understanding either. Some people are good, some are bad, and some are simply broken. It is the fault of the parents for neglecting and abusing their children, but Takopi, as kind-hearted as he is, isn't completely innocent or exempt from criticism either. His understanding of happiness is fundamentally shallow and hollow. He approaches these issues of human suffering as problems to be solved, acting like his happy gadgets are a quick fix to all problems. Flight, reconciliation, rewinding time, like everything will be fine once it's patched up. In the bigger picture, however, his tools act more like applying a band-aid to a deep gash that's been festering for a long period of time. He doesn't understand that festering has to be cut out and addressed at the root of the problem. In a sense, he represents this kind of naive optimism. The idea that if we only try hard enough to be good, good things will happen. Takopi's original sin subverts this idea time and time again. The idea that without understanding, even the best of intentions can be pernicious. The tragedy of Takopi is that he is doing simply what he's been taught to do. Planet Happy does not teach him how to deal with abuse, neglect, or suffering. It teaches him that happiness is universal, simple, and achievable if you only apply the right tools, the right band-aid. When his worldview meets reality, the results are not optimism, but escalation. Each attempt to fix the problem takes agency away from Shizuka and Marina, turns their suffering into something to be edited. Takopi doesn't fail because he lacks kindness. He fails because kindness alone is not enough. Overall, I would say that Takopi's original sin has an overwhelmingly pessimistic outlook on life. Nevertheless, just because it is cynical, doesn't mean that it isn't being honest, or that it's outside the realm of reality. The show is pessimistic because it refuses to lie. It refuses to, like I previously stated, look away from the reality of these characters' circumstances. One critique that I've seen of the show is that, while yes, it does have a very negative stance on life, I've seen it said that people wish that it could choose a lane, so to speak, between having a pessimistic outlook or an optimistic outlook, comparing it to other media like Goodnight Punpun for the former and A Silent Voice for the latter. Having not read Punpun, I can't speak for that end of the argument. On the other hand, I've watched A Silent Voice multiple times, and in terms of narrative structure, I wouldn't say that they're too dissimilar. I believe the comparison primarily is based on the similarities found in their endings. At the end of A Silent Voice, Shoya comes to the understanding that the world isn't against him. He has friends and family who cherish him, and that he's worthy of love. In Takopi, after Takopi comes to the understanding that human nature is more complicated and nuanced than he originally thought, he decides to just be with Shizuka as she grieves for the loss of Chappie. Afterwards, he makes the ultimate sacrifice and erases himself from reality, as if he never met Shizuka and Marina, since he realized his actions were simply making things worse. Hell is paved with good intentions, after all. However, his presence in their lives was incredibly strong since he acted as their one source of joy and hope for a brighter future. Takopi, in his own way, brought them both together, and they both come to the understanding that they don't have to be alone in their suffering. They realize they can become better than their circumstances, that they can become better than the sum of their parts. Shizuka and Marina found each other, and Naoki found his brother. The main argument of Takopi's original sin is that hope, if it's separated from understanding, is meaningless. That good intentions are not enough, that kindness without empathy is damaging, and that happiness, when used as a panacea, is a lie. But despite all of this, the story is never truly nihilistic. Instead, it offers something else, something smaller, but perhaps more meaningful. The idea that no matter how cruel the world is, connection is important. That understanding someone, sitting with them in their pain and refusing to look away, has value, even if it doesn't fix anything. Takopi may not have been able to save Shizuka or Marina. He may not have been able to change what had already been done, but for a brief time, he was able to make them see that they didn't have to suffer alone. And maybe that's the closest thing to hope that this show is willing to give. Thanks for watching.